Hello, my earth angels. Welcome back for another video. I'm so grateful that you're joining me for another lesson. I don't know what number lesson this is, but I know it's been a lot and I've never introduced myself, or maybe I forgot. But I need to start introducing myself for when new people come in. So I'm Taylor. I've learned some lessons and I think it would be selfish of me to keep them inside because these lessons are good. So I get on this interweb and I give y'all the lessons and y'all can do whatever you want to do with them, but just trust I would not lead you astray. So with all of that being said, let's get into today's lesson. I am really excited about today's lesson because I learned this not too long ago myself and it is just oh so good. And today's lesson is that you need to breathe through the pain, all of it. All of the pain. Outside of seeking God, I think the first thing you could do when you're experiencing any type of pain is just breathe. Just breathe. Like, people say that all the time, and I don't think anyone takes people seriously when they say that. Like, I think you think it's some like woo-saw nonsense. No, it's actually real. You need to breathe through the pain, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, whether it's spiritual. You need to just breathe. You can't do anything until you breathe. So you might as well start there. It's a good starting step. And I think the first time I recognized how powerful breathing really was honestly through stretching. Like, I would stretch, and sometimes when you start stretching a little too far, it started feeling a little wonky. I noticed what I started doing was breathing, like naturally, out of nowhere. I started doing this. And even when I was like working out, like say I'm doing push-ups and I'm really close to hitting my max, now I'm breathing even deeper. Like, or if I'm doing like a squat, like a deep squat, and it's time for me to come up, I take a really deep breath before I come back up. And I just kind of noticed as I'm doing different physical activity that my breathing would increase. Like, it was the weirdest thing how that switch happened. I just started breathing. I would focus on my breath and I noticed how things just felt a lot better. I felt much stronger. I felt like I was capable of doing so much more than like I would have thought I would have been able to do. And it felt really good. Like, I really learned the power of the breath unintentionally. It was an accident. And then recently, I learned there's a reason why I felt so good. Because breathing is like a natural analgesic. I don't think I know how to say that word. I know how to spell it, but I don't know how to say it. But it's almost like a natural pain reliever. And not like in the same way medicine would relieve pain, but it has like a psychological effect. So I feel like I have some notes here that I'm actually going to read from eventually, but just my personal understanding and how I've seen it, how I've rationalized it, I think the reason that breathing has a not her knocking down my cupcake. Riley! You are acting a fool on this internet. You know I do one take. All right, let's get back to it. What was I saying? Yes, the reason I believe that breathing is a natural pain reliever is because it's a distraction. That's what I think. I think it's because it's a distraction. Because think about it. If you're feeling pain for whatever reason, for anything, and instead of focusing on the pain, you shift your focus to taking deep breaths, like, that is not natural. For you to do that, it's not natural. And for me to do that, I have to intentionally focus on inhaling deeply and exhaling deeply. Like, that's so unnatural that it takes a whole lot of focus to do it accurately. So I think it's a distraction because once you start doing the ins and outs and you're intentionally focusing on, you can't focus on nothing else but those breaths. And that distraction removes your mind from focusing on the pain, you know? That's just my personal experience. It works well for me. But then some like actual research that you can go do for yourself that backs it up. It says that proper breathing genuinely reduces pain for a few reasons. So deep breathing increases oxygen flow, which helps your smooth muscles relax, and it decreases tension. It also activates your parasympathetic nervous system. Did anyone take psychology? Y'all remember that word? Oh my gosh, it's coming back. But yeah, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your is that the fight or flight? It is the fight or flight. Is it the fight or flight? Let me double check. You're gonna see me do this in real time before I'm referencing something else, but I'm trying to pull from my psychology background. I feel like I remember that's what it was called. No, actually it's the opposite. It's not the fight or flight, it's the rest and relax. Remember, I'm getting on here as a human. Don't eat me up in the comments. Do not eat me up in the comments. But back to business. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and relax nervous system. And that acts by slowing your heart rate down and lowering your stress hormones. So it's lowering that cortisol. Excuse me. Riley, I'm gonna put you in the crate. Crate. Get in the crate. Now I'm gonna close the crate. Cause you are acting out. Why are you being so embarrassing right now? You know I am not restarting this video. Sorry. Behind the scenes. Anyway, back to business. So, like I said, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, and it slows down your heart rate, and it lowers your cortisol. That's the stress hormone. So both of those things, they like reduce the intensity of the pain. Moving on. It also, by breathing deeply, because I know we got distracted, just to recap, we are talking about breathing deeply and the benefits of doing that. It reduces anxiety, which reducing your anxiety equates to lowering your pain perception. That's what it says. And it also improves your blood flow to your muscles and tension, which helps them relax. So that's some science for y'all. So it also has some examples in here talking about like Lamaze, you know, that childbirth thing. That's why they be doing the I've never had a baby, so I don't know if that's it, but like I do be remembering from like the movies and stuff, they be doing the breathing, and it makes so much sense, pushing that big-headed baby out. Oh my goodness. And also it speaks about how like athletes breathe deeply when they're doing like a lot of exertion, and that makes sense. Have you ever seen like a sprinter and they're doing that? Yeah, I used to think they was doing the most. Whole time they try and get some more oxygen to their muscles. They're smart. They are so smart. But that's some science for you. Go ahead and research that for yourself. But I definitely really appreciate this information. I couldn't keep it in. And I think now would be a good time to talk about what Bible verse supports what I am saying, because of course it comes from the Bible as well. Everything that science comes to prove, the Lord already gave us in the Bible. It's a recurring theme, and honestly it's the best theme I've ever discovered. I'm so like excited to explore this more and more. I love learning new things, and I love seeing the Bible open up in a way where it's like, this is literally the blueprint of life. We have all the answers here, and all we have to do is take the time to learn it, and then we have a cheat code to life. Ooh, I just got excited. Let's get back to it. We are in Job chapter 33, verse 4. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of life. Oh, not me messing up again. Let's start over. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. So, a few things about this verse. First, a little background. If you haven't read the story of Job, Job was going through it. Oh my gosh. I would not wish Job's experience on my worst enemy. genuinely. Like, I don't want to ruin the story of Job if you haven't read it, but in short, man's lost everything you could possibly think of. Like, you don't know suffering until you read about Job. Okay? That's one. And then to add insult to injury, gonna spoil it a little bit, just add insult to injury. Job is going through literally the worst time any human could ever imagine. And his friends don't make it no better. They don't make it no better. They don't make it no better, right? And that's all I'm gonna say, because I don't want to spoil it in case you do want to go read about Job. But in this verse that I just read, his friend is the one that's speaking to him that says this, that the Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life, right? And this is so important because he's talking about the breath of the Almighty God. And although his friends were wrong about a lot of things, he was spitting with that one. That one was accurate. That one was true. Because the breath of God does give us life. And I think this would be a good time to take a little field trip back to Genesis for a second. Genesis chapter 2. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. I am in chapter 2, right? Yeah, I am. Verse 7. Then the Lord God formed the man out of the dust from the ground and breathed the breath of life into his nostrils, and the man became a living being. Breath been from the Lord, and if it comes from the Lord, it must be good. If it comes from the Lord, it must be good. If it comes from the Lord, it must be good. Hey. I couldn't be a musician, but I must say that was a bop real quick. Anyway, back to business. So yes, he's kind of reminding Job in this moment that the breath of life is from the Lord, and it gives you life. So speaking of gives you life, that means it's giving you strength. Breath gives you strength, and that's a good reason why breathing during pain is a really good thing, because it gives you that boost that you need to get through whatever pain you're enduring. It gives you endurance. That's what I'm trying to say. My goodness, it's been a long day. I did not get good sleep last night. Please be gentle on the girl. The message is so good. But also, deep breathing, it creates this calmness. And we both know that calm is peace, and peace is God. Say it with me. Calm is peace, and peace is God. Say it with me. Calm is peace, and peace is God. Yes. So yes, deep breathing brings calmness, it brings stillness, it brings peace, it brings relaxation, right? And it's during the peace, the calm, the relaxation, the stillness, that's where you get clarity. That's also where you get some relief. So, and it also builds your endurance. It helps you get through the pain. Is there anything else I want to say about this? I do want to double down on the fact that, again, in here, it says the breath of the Almighty gives me life. And we took a field trip back to Genesis chapter 2, where we saw the creation of man and how we only came to life when God breathed breath into our nostrils. That is how we came alive. So I think it's very significant that life is connected to breath, so that when we are experiencing any type of pain, what will help us endure the pain is taking deep breaths. And it's not just physical, it's emotional too. You know, when somebody's having, like, when they're in like emotional distress and they're just having like a tantrum or something. Have you ever seen someone, like, this is why we tell kids, like, breathe when they're doing all that hooping and hollering. It's like, just breathe. Or when somebody is like very angry, very upset, and their mouth is moving 1,000,000 miles a minute, and they're doing the most, and you just look at them like, maybe a deep breath, maybe take a few breaths, maybe go outside, take in some oxygen. It makes sense. It's all connected. Breath is from God. It's a God-given force that strengthens us, that gives us endurance, that brings peace, that brings calmness, that brings stillness. Breath is what sustains us too. Let's not forget, the only reason we're alive is because we're what? We're breathing. And no matter what you're going through, no matter how bad your pain feels or seems, however intense you're perceiving your pain, at some level you have to remember you're still breathing. That alone should tell you that you're gonna make it through. You're still breathing. Breath is sustaining your life. The Lord is sustaining your life through that breath. So this is a reminder. This is a lesson and a reminder that when you are dealing with some type of physical pain, some type of emotional pain, I'm not saying that breathing is going to make it go away. But I am saying that deep breathing is probably going to make it better than it was before. So with that, you're welcome. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope you go check out the other ones. And stay tuned for the message at the end and come back tomorrow for another lesson. Thank you for trusting me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye! I know you need a calendar for 2026, and I'm going to tell you why you should buy mine. I know you want to grow your life. I know you want to grow your walk with the Lord. I know you want to become a better you. This calendar is geared towards all of those goals I know you have. In this calendar, I have a Proverbs verse at the top of each month, related affirmations that apply to the Proverbs verse, and a reflection question aimed to gear your inner growth. It's also accompanied by a picture that I took myself by the grace of God. I have a hot girl dog, and we would go on hot girl walks, and I would take pictures all the time. And then one day the Lord said, go ahead and put it in the calendar. So I went ahead and put it in the calendar, and this is it. And I really hope you consider buying it. Like I said, it's really geared towards those that are interested in growing their walk with the Lord, and also just doing some inner healing, inner reflection, and self-development. It's really like a self-improvement motivational type of calendar. So it includes it includes a Proverbs verse at the top of each month to help you know what the word says and help guide your decisions throughout the day. But it also gives you affirmations to help you remind yourself that you are made in the Lord's image and you are capable of all of these great things. And then there's a reflection question at the end, because sometimes we have to ask ourselves some hard questions so that we can get to the growth. So there you have it. I hope you're interested, and if you are, you can find the link in my description. I hope to see a purchase from you. Thank you for listening. Bye.